Hi, and welcome to A Punk with Toys. My name is Lawrence, and today in this classic review, we're going back in time to the 80s, and we're going to take a look at this G.I. Joe, a real American hero, the O-ring versions, the enemy, Cobra. Yes, that's what his name was, and I have both the straight arm and the swivel arm, and we're going to take a look at both of them. The molds, well, the designs are the same for the most part, but the molds are obviously different, as they put some of the stuff on the arms in different places. But we're going to take a look at this figure. We're going to look at the detail on this before we obviously move on to the next figure. But I figured so far all I've done is G.I. Joe. Let's break it up and give you the next three videos. We're going to do all Cobra, and that's what we're going to start with Cobra. We know him as Cobra Trooper. I think that's how most of us refer to him. But anyway, let's get into this. We got his gun. We're going to look at the design of everything and see exactly how they look. But let's get into this. Not really look at me because you guys don't really care. But if you like this type of stuff, you like classic reviews and looking at the detail that these figures had, because there's so much more than what we saw as a kid, please take a second, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and then hit that bell notification so you're notified every time I drop one of these. Now let's go. All right, so here we are. We can see both figures that are sitting there. You can see the straight arm, and then you can see the swivel arm. As I mentioned before, I like the swivel arm way more than the straight arm. They just compose way better. And this one is in, well, he's in some dire need of some love, to be honest. He's faded. But quickly, we'll take a look at the weapon here. Oof, a soft weapon from Hasbro. Oof, you know what? Get rid of this line. It's garbage. Hasbro doesn't care. I'm just messing with you. So anyway, here it is. I believe this is called the Dragunov. And who didn't love this weapon as a kid? It's got this nice open stock here. It's got the nice scope on it. A magazine. It's not a removable magazine. And then you always have this little safety switch they kind of showed. You have the vents, so the barrel doesn't completely overheat there. And then you have the long barrel here along with the sight right there. But again, this was always a really cool weapon. And in real life, I believe these things are way bigger than what this is. But again, these are toys. We got to be able to play with them. So quickly, we'll take a look at this figure. And the one thing I have to say I really like about this compared to the Cobra Officer is that there are very few parts that are reused between the two of them. So I think we're going to grab this guy because he's just in better shape, and then I'll point out the two things that are different when we get into everything. So anyway, you can kind of look at the blue here. Again, it looks extremely nice. We got the helmet, and once again, as we can see, there's no chevron on here. We got the mask, so we never have to worry. So if we were army building, and again, I don't know who was army building, other than if you were army building shipwrecks like my dad wanted to, or shall I say did. It's hard to say anything about that, right? So you have this nice mask. You got the same style eyes. Again, they just kind of were black. They do give the eyebrows, so you do have a nice impression of a face right there. But the detail on it is nice because you can see that it's meant to actually wrap around his face. So there is some sculpting inside there. You have these two bullets here. My buddy, he used to always say these are the armor-piercing bullets that you would use for that. And then this here, I always thought this was like a little hook, and I couldn't figure out why he had a hook. Come to find out, if I am correct, this is fishing wire, and they used fishing wire to, well, when they were doing secretive stuff to take operatives out when they came up behind them. I'll let you use your imagination. We have this nice, what seems to be more like a laser pistol right up here. And then up on here, we just have the padded version, or just the paddedness running up here, so it's not it wouldn't wear down on your shoulders. Now, just putting in that detail says so much, and this is something you probably didn't notice as a kid. All right, obviously you have the hole to put in backpacks, and that is where the screw is if you don't know. But again, we can see how this comes around, and then you have your belt. Now on this figure, we don't have any belt loops, which is actually kind of odd, considering they put so much detail into the other ones, but I'm not going to lose my mind or anything. A couple little pouches that are right there, And then we have this nice little circle that just kind of sits there. So the way that's how it's going to clasp. And I absolutely love that there. I always liked how the knives just sat there. They're not really sheathed in, or at least I didn't think they were. It looked like there was just two straps that ran across it. And then you just had this little knife right in between it. Because obviously you have to use, well, you got to have something to fight silently, right? And then you have your pouches right there. I've absolutely always loved, I've mentioned this so many times, I love the knee pads. I didn't have a lot of figures with knee pads. Actually, that's not true. I just thought there was maybe more. And I look back, I had so many other figures. But anyway, it has the knee pads. I always liked the way knee pads kind of stuck out. It made them pose better when they got on, like when they were in a kneeling firing position. And even here you can see just that little bit of detail. And then we get down to the boots. And they just have these two little notches right there. And on the front, there is absolutely nothing. So there's not, we don't have any shoelaces or strings, which I kind of showed before. And this is just all one sleeve. So whether or not these are separate gloves, it's made to be all one sleeve. As for the articulation, as we've gone, they didn't bend their heads down yet. They just turn side to side. And I mentioned in the last one, I love the fact that there's a notch in the back here that allows you not to go completely around. You never had a problem with the T-pose. There was no no bicep cut because it all turned at the shoulder. But you had your swivel arm. This figure is actually pretty tight. It swivels back and forth. If you are wondering why they're called O-rings, it is because the ring in the middle is an O, and that's what holds them together. Jean-Claude Van Damme was here, and again, these were made to go at a 90-degree angle, so you could put them in pretty much any vehicle that they made. Again, legs went maybe just a little over 90. You know, nothing too crazy there. Now, as for the straight arm figure, now, I do not have a straight arm Cobra officer, so this is the only one we're going to be looking at. So here with the twine or the fishing wire, everything is right here on the side. And a matter of fact, I think looking at it here, you can tell that it's fishing wire a little bit easier. And then the bullets were still in the exact same spot, but they're made a little bit different. You can. Oh, I actually kind of forgot to point out the Cobra symbol. It kind of blends in. You know, you don't think about it when you were a kid, just how dark that red is onto the blue. Where the Cobra officer has silver, Cobra commander is a lighter blue, so it pops a little bit more. But for the most part, everything else is in the same spot, other than the fishing wire that's on the side. Even the waists are the same. The legs are the same all the way down. So, and once you put in his nice little dragon off, when you have the swivel arm, you can kind of make it look like he's shooting at you. Where the straight arm may have been an upgrade from what Star Wars did, but let's be honest, you still can only do so much to try and make them shoot forward. And matter of fact, as we can see, that hand doesn't even stay up. I'm not even sure how where I acquired this figure from. As I said, I'm not a big straight arm guy, so I would not have gone out and sought out a straight arm. Anyway, there you go. That is the classic review of Cobra. Alright, so there you go. That is the Enemy Cobra. I don't even know if they were called Cobra yet. They were called Cobra, but it said the Enemy. And it always said the Enemy till the end of the run, if I remember correctly. But these were always fun figures. I think we all loved having the bad guys, the mask on them, so they could be anyone. Again, I was more of a Cobra officer. That was my favorite figure when it came to all these guys. And I just wanted to say, if you're wondering why I do these, when I started reviewing the classified and I started comparing them to the O-ring figures, I started noticing all kinds of detail that we never noticed because we weren't collectors as kids. We were playing with the toys. And when I started looking at stuff, when I would listen to his live streams and I would hear Lenny talk about certain things like, hey, people didn't realize, but hey, Beachhead had a beret. I didn't know that's what that was. It never dawned on me that's what that was because I wasn't really looking at it. But I figured I want to go through these. I'm starting with Series 1. The detail in Series 1 is not nearly what we're going to have once we get to 2, 3, and obviously onward past that. So once we get to that, I think we're going to be maybe a little bit longer in these videos, but I'm going to get out of here. Thank you very much for watching this. I love the fact that some people were able to go back. Maybe they never had this figure. Maybe they don't remember it. Maybe that jars their memory because it's their first figure that they ever had. It's something their mom or their dad or their grandmother got them, and it just means the world to them. So I'm going to get out of here. Thank you very much. If you stayed this long, please take a second, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell notification so you're notified every time I drop one of these classic videos. I am trying really hard not to cough. So please, what I'm going to do up here is I'm going to leave the stalker, and down here will be the playlist of everything else. My eyes are watering.